This video is on Andrew and Amy Witcher. Their screenshots. Well, when I was going through, I realized that I had only sent half of the stuff from Amy Witcher to those officers. And that half is not the half that talks about Andrew's stepdaughter telling on him for molesting her. Now this little girl, because she is a little girl, she's not 18. She is forced to normalize with her abuser because her mom didn't want to make a report. Because her mom wanted to keep a meth head around. This was not this little girl's fault. This was her mother's decision. This is where people start becoming cutters. Any of you guys familiar with cutters? The cutters, that comes more from mom than dad usually. Because although dad is usually the perpetrator, the cutters usually try to tell and people don't listen. And they become too afraid to say anything. And they are forced to normalize with the man who raped them or molested them. Now I typed Amy a story about somebody else that exactly that same thing had happened to. Just before she let me know what her daughter had said. Now most of these people, what these officers are going to notice is that these people, it wasn't until I exposed their predators that they started being terrible to me. Protecting their predators was more important. Even my own mother, who was raped repeatedly by her father, chose going to her predator's side rather than even pretend that her own son is a human being. That's because my family doesn't care about human beings. They care about money. They care about stepping up in the world. The thing is, I want the public to have access to that. I want the public to know why it is that Andrew Witcher didn't keep his word. Why Amy Witcher didn't keep her word. Amy Witcher, she doesn't even want to be with Andrew anymore. He forces himself on her. It's called rape. I have that in text messaging too. I also have her blaming me because Andrew got put on suicide watch. It wasn't me who turned him in. I turned him in for being a child molester. If he was suicidal, I wouldn't have called suicide watch. I wouldn't have. I'd have ignored the situation. I didn't want to have anything to do with him. If we were still friends, I would have called him up and tried to find out what was up. That's what a friend would do, not call suicide hotline. Not call the police and say this asshole's suicidal. I've been through hell. And a lot of the people that claimed that they would help me put me through hell. Wasted my time, wasted my resources. Of course, Andrew, he wanted a babysitter so that he could go do meth. That's what was important to him. Also, in those messages, it's got Amy admitting that she was addicted to cocaine the summer that they were supposedly going to help me. Also in those messages is that Amy was going to leave Andrew, and then she started defending him as soon as I turned him in. Imagine that. And she started saying things that you guys might find familiar from my page. Sean, I have no place safe to go. So she's afraid that her and her kids are going to be victimized because I turned in their predator. I typed her a story about what would happen if she wasn't the one that turned them in. It was a true story, and Amy's story is true too. I've got it saved. And it's just part of this story and part of the crap that I had to go through because the Adams County detectives did not want to do their jobs. None of the police officers at any point in time wanted to do their jobs. Amy Witcher, Shannon Alvarado spoke about having to normalize with your predators and having more animosity towards your mother than towards the person who actually committed the crime. Shannon Alvarado spoke of that. Shannon Alvarado knows exactly what that little girl feels when you're forced to normalize with your predator.